If she was warm, consistent, emotionally open, and then suddenly changed, became distant, slower, colder, you're not alone, and more importantly, you're not crazy. Because one of the most confusing experiences for men is when a woman seems deeply interested, only to pull away right when things start feeling real. One day she's texting first, laughing, sharing, opening up. The next, delayed replies, short answers, busy, less energy, less certainty. And that sudden shift can make even confident men question everything. Did I say something wrong? Did I move too fast? Is she losing interest? But here's what most men don't understand. When a woman pulls away after getting close, it does not always mean the connection is dead. Sometimes it means uncertainty, sometimes fear, sometimes testing, sometimes genuine loss of attraction. And if you don't understand the difference, you'll often respond the wrong way. And that wrong response often pushes her away. Because when confusion hits, most men panic. They chase harder, double text, seek reassurance, over-explain, over-pursue. And without realizing it, they shift from calm, masculine presence into emotional pressure. Now listen carefully. Pulling away is not always manipulation. Not every woman is playing games. But patterns matter. And when you understand them, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. First, attraction is often strongest in uncertainty. Early on, there's mystery, curiosity, anticipation. She wonders about you, feels your absence. But once emotional closeness begins, reality enters. Feelings become serious, stakes feel higher, and sometimes people pull back not because they feel nothing, but because they feel too much. Yes, sometimes closeness creates fear, especially if she's been hurt before, or if vulnerability feels dangerous. She may ask herself, is this moving too fast? Am I getting attached? Can I trust this? And instead of communicating clearly, distance becomes the strategy. Not always because she wants to lose you, but because space feels safer than uncertainty. This is where many men fail. They interpret distance as rejection and react from fear. But fear-based behavior is rarely attractive. When a man becomes emotionally frantic because her energy shifted, he reveals something dangerous, that his confidence depends on her consistency, and dependency changes everything. If her temporary distance instantly destabilizes you, it shows your emotional center is externally controlled. This doesn't mean you should become cold. It means your strength must remain intact, even when clarity disappears. Because one of the most attractive things a man can show is emotional steadiness under uncertainty. Now, sometimes she's testing your emotional resilience. Not always consciously, but behavior often reveals what words do not. She may create distance and observe. Does he panic? Does he become needy? Does he pressure? Or does he stay grounded? Your response to distance often reveals more than your behavior during closeness. Anyone can feel confident when things are easy. But how do you respond when certainty disappears? That's where self-control is exposed. Then there's another possibility. Sometimes attraction is genuinely dropping. Maybe chemistry shifted. Maybe predictability replaced tension. Maybe she discovered incompatibility. Or maybe her interest was never as deep as yours. Hard truth, but necessary. Not every withdrawal is fear. Sometimes it's disinterest. And your power comes from recognizing reality quickly, not forcing fantasy. This is why emotional intelligence matters. You must observe patterns, not cling to preferred outcomes. Ask yourself, is her distance temporary or consistent? Does she still invest or only respond? Because there's a difference between needing space and slowly exiting. Men often suffer because they treat all distance the same. They overreact or underreact. Wisdom is knowing the difference. So what should you do? First, do not collapse into pursuit mode. If her energy drops slightly, do not immediately double yours. Match reality, observe, stay composed, give room for clarity. Sometimes space reveals more truth than pressure ever could. Second, maintain your life, your mission, your standards. One of the fastest ways to lose yourself is making someone else's inconsistency your entire mental world. Men who spiral analyze every text, every delay, every shift, and in doing so, they become emotionally consumed by uncertainty. Calm men notice patterns, but they do not surrender to them. Third, communicate when necessary, but without desperation. You seem a little distant lately. Hope all's well? Simple, direct, no accusation, no panic. Mature communication creates information. Desperation creates pressure. Fourth, accept what her behavior is showing you. Sometimes the strongest move is not convincing someone to stay. It's recognizing when their energy no longer aligns and preserving your self-respect. Chasing inconsistent energy often creates more pain than walking away, because self-respect is refusing to abandon yourself, trying to secure someone else. Now let's talk about hot and cold behavior. This pattern traps countless men because inconsistency can feel addictive. Warmth gives hope, distance creates anxiety, then warmth returns and relief feels powerful. This cycle can create emotional dependency. You start chasing the return of the good version. But ask yourself, are you building something healthy or becoming attached to unpredictable validation? Not every emotional roller coaster is passion. Sometimes it's instability, and maturity means knowing the difference. Here's another hard truth. The more you fear losing someone, the more likely you are to tolerate confusion, mixed signals, half-effort, disrespect. Why? Because potential feels intoxicating. But potential without consistency often becomes emotional chaos. This is why confidence is not loudness. Real confidence is the ability to remain centered while observing whether someone's actions align with what you actually want. It is self-trust, and self-trust changes everything. Because when a man trusts himself, he stops forcing clarity from people creating confusion. He watches, he listens, he responds accordingly. He values reciprocity. If she returns with genuine consistency, good. If she continues creating emotional fog, he adjusts. Not because he lacks feelings, but because he has standards. Remember this. Someone pulling away does not automatically define your worth. Their distance may reflect fear, confusion, or incompatibility. But too many men internalize withdrawal as personal inadequacy. Then they start performing, proving, overcompensating, trying to become enough. But healthy attraction is not sustained through self-abandonment. You should not sacrifice your peace just to keep someone's attention. Relationships require effort, but there is a difference between healthy effort and fear-driven overfunctioning. One builds connection, the other erodes dignity. So if she pulls away after getting close, do not panic. Do not instantly chase. Do not assume. Observe. Stay grounded. Communicate wisely. Protect your center. And most importantly, pay attention to patterns over promises. Because words can comfort, but patterns reveal truth. If she needs temporary space but returns with clarity, that tells one story. If she repeatedly withdraws, confuses, and destabilizes, that tells another. Believe patterns, not fantasies. In the end, the real goal is controlling how deeply someone else's inconsistency controls you. That is power. Because when your emotional state is no longer hostage to unpredictability, you stop living reactively. You become selective, disciplined, clear. So the next time she gets close, then distant, remember this. Her withdrawal is information, not an automatic emergency. Some distance reveals fear, some reveals testing, some reveals disinterest. Your job is not to panic, it's to understand. Because men who instantly chase uncertainty often lose themselves. But men who stay calm long enough to read reality rarely do. Sometimes the strongest move is not pulling her closer. It's refusing to let confusion pull you out of position.